Mesilla Valley News and Gino Aragon here with you. And once again, we are back with Tresco, or Let's Talk Tresco. Okay, so let's go ahead and make sure that we can go ahead and have a little conversation about what Tresco is and what they do. And today I'll be talking with Greg Block, that's Tresco Works Assistant Director for Business Development. And if you're wondering what Tresco is, well, for over 54 years, Tresco has been providing professional and individual services, supports, and opportunities to people of any age with differing abilities, families, and their communities we serve. Tresco currently provides services in 12 counties throughout New Mexico and three main divisions: the TOTS Early Intervention, the Day One Home Visiting, and Tresco Works, which is what we'll be concentrating on today, where they offer community employment opportunities to people with varying abilities, including veterans, students, through federal, state, and local contracts. And currently, they have over 50 contracts that provide quality custodial grounds and total facility management services in 12 counties throughout New Mexico. And of course, if you need any information or to go ahead and talk to Tresco, you can check out the website, trescoinc.org, or give them a call at 575-528-2200. And as I said, our guest today is Greg Block, Tresco Works Assistant Director and Business Development. That's quite a title right there.
It is, isn't it? Makes me sound like I'm important.
I think you are very important.
I am not important. I am not important.
I doubt that, because everybody I've talked to is important in what Tresco does and everything that goes along with it. And what is it? Which brings me to the question: how long have you been with Tresco?
I've been with Tresco 3.5 years. I worked in higher education for about 35 years. And decided to retire and try something new. And so I came, as they say, to the other side of the street, and I had an opportunity here at Tresco to work in business development.
Mm-hmm.
I joined the team about 3.5 years ago.
Oh, that's awesome. And so what exactly does the Assistant Director of Business Development do? What do you do for Tresco Works?
You know, I would say I have two primary focuses. The first one, and probably the main thing that I do, is to respond to contract opportunities. We identify opportunities in New Mexico. We're looking outside of New Mexico, or starting to look outside of New Mexico, but identifying opportunities where Tresco can submit proposals to provide services to commercial or local, state, or federal contracts. Those services generally run the gamut. Custodial facilities support, grounds, stocking shelves in stores, working in restaurants. And so we would put a person or persons, individuals, to, if one could say, like a business might subcontract out their cleaning. And so we would put a team there or a person there, depending on how big the business is, to do that work as a subcontractor on that site. And so I identify those opportunities and write those proposals. The second part of really what I do is to try to identify potential new opportunities and new lines of work that we might be able to groom and go seek customers for, instead of waiting for the customers, so to speak, to post opportunities that we respond to identify potential places that we might be able to grow contracts that we could then ease into and employ people.
So it's not just like sitting back and waiting for someone that obviously needs help to come to you, but you're actively out there looking to see where those opportunities are.
We are.
That you can help out. Basically, a mutual type of thing where they would be able to employ somebody and you'd be able to help them out with the services that they need.
We would. And generally, they're looking for, they being the customer, for services, and then we bid and put a bid in or a proposal in for those services, and in that we employ people with disabilities to meet the needs of that customer in what they do. And so a typical contract that we have is, let's say, for custodial services. And so a state agency may say that we need to clean the following facility or facilities. Right now, for example, the 12 rest areas on I-10 and I-25 that are south of Albuquerque over to the Arizona line as well. We have staff, 30 plus staff, who are working in those facilities to provide maintenance support, to provide HVAC support, to do the custodial work and to do the grounds work at those places. And
Mhm.
so we put the proposal in as an example for those, and then a group of individuals is assigned to those facilities to accomplish that mission.
Oh yeah, because we've talked with several people that do some of the grounds work there at some of the rest area facilities, and I cannot. I having done a lot of travel in the last couple of weeks, going up and down I-10, and I shouldn't say up and down I-10, but basically going back between here and Albuquerque. All of those rest stops obviously look good, so you guys do a great job in getting that done. And like you said, there's these contracts that are available, and you have a wide variety of different contracts. But how many contracts are you working with right now?
Off the top of my head, I don't know because it fluctuates
It'll
month to
vary and
month, but
fluctuate, yeah.
somewhere between 50 and 60.
Wow.
And we've been, this year we've been able to add a few new contracts, but we are continuing to grow. I think it reflects, and I appreciate your kind words about how nice the rest areas look. I think it reflects our employees. I think that we have been very fortunate to hire really good people who care about what they do. And I think that in many cases, our employees are doing such good work that often they sell the services because others see the work they're doing. And we've had a number of state agencies or cities that have approached us to put proposals in to do services at those locations because they've seen our work at other locations. And so what you described when you drive I-25 up to Albuquerque, it's not unusual. A number of people see that and see that we're providing the work and then ask us what we can do. And that's when I say I'm not that important. My job is really behind the scenes to try to put some numbers together. The real work are the people who are on the ground doing the work. And 9 times out of 10, they're the ones who do the really good work that sells the contract to the next customer.
Absolutely. Do you ever get any questions about the people that you're going to have working for you, as far as when you're talking to some of these people about the contracts and some of the work that they can do?
Yeah, and I would say very seldom do we get questions. I think people are very interested in just getting the services that they need
Hmm.
accomplished. I think sometimes when they find out that our primary mission is to employ people with and individuals with significant disabilities, it might keep them from getting employment in the local community where they run into trouble getting hired and so forth.
Hmm.
Um, uh, I would say it's not unusual to have uh, people within that contract. Uh, I guess maybe just be uh, not questioning us, but just maybe it's new to them, and
Hmm.
so um, and I would say I've not had an instance yet where I've gone in and had an opportunity to start a new contract someplace, and within a few months, we're getting feedback from that customer about how great the employee is, and not only the work is getting done, but is changing the mindset that there are all kinds of people with all kinds of differences that can do really really good work out there, and sometimes we as humans aren't exposed to people who may be different than us. And so as a result, it leaves us maybe a little anxious because it's something new to us. And then all of a sudden they're working with an individual that is different from them, and however you want to describe different. And they find out that this person does really good work. They're very punctual. They thrive on routine or whatever the issue is. And th- it changes them as much as it gives the employee an opportunity to have a really good job. And so I think it's kind of win-win. And so I don't say we get lots of questions, but I think we have lots of new experiences for people on both sides of the equation.
And that's what I was actually kind of getting to, because a lot of times some people might have some questions about can are you sure they can do the work, can they get it done, or anything else like that. And the fact that you can develop these new experiences for a lot of the businesses around here just kind of enforces the fact uh, that there are a lot of people, like you said, with differing abilities that can do the things, and a lot of times where they wouldn't get hired, say on a one-on-one basis with something else, going through Tresco and the reputation that Tresco has and what they do and the work that is done right there really speaks volumes about the community that you guys have really built up here, and the community that can help out a lot of those with the differing abilities that may have some problems sometimes, uh, just getting hired in some capacity just in the outside world. I mean, I've spoken with several people that have experienced that as well. But when they come to Tresco, it's like as soon as you mention that, there's a smile on their face because of the work that they do and the reputation that they have.
Yeah, I agree, and I thank you for again for those kind words. It's one of the reasons I've enjoyed my 3.5 years here is because I do feel that what we're doing is important. I feel like the mission is something that um, uh, is is helping the communities that we are in and the individuals that we work with. And I feel again that I've had an opportunity to meet a lot of people
Mhm.
who are doing really, really, really good work for us and are happy to be doing that work. The unemployment rate is coming down significantly in America and here in New Mexico in particular. But the unemployment rate for people with disabilities is historically been much, much higher than the
Yeah.
national rate. And so if Tresco and our customers are playing a huge role, and I believe we are, in putting people to work who historically have had trouble finding work and having people hire them, and that's helping them find employment, then that's a win-win for everybody. It's a win for the employee, but it's also a win for the customer because generally, we hit home runs. We hire good people who want to work and when given the opportunity, do really, really good work for
Yeah.
us.
And honestly, with the job force that's out there right now, sometimes that you hear one of the biggest things is just finding the people that want to work and want to get the job done. I mean, and that's just in general. That's not speaking any on anything with the um, anything about what Tresco is, but just in general, when you talk about the job market that's out there, you hear a lot of that from employers. It's just finding people who want to work
Hmm.
and get the job done. And the fact that, of course, when people come to Tresco, they are looking for help, they're looking for work, and you can provide that opportunity for them. And also with the customers, like I said, the opportunity to work with people that they may not have thought of before, as far as working with different abilities. But like you said, you're working with a lot of different contracts, and I know that's a wide area to work with in the within the state of New Mexico. I mean, what's the farthest out that you have gone from Las Cruces to go ahead and get a contract done?
Well, we have a number of contracts in the Hobbs and Carlsbad area.
Wow.
So 4 or 5 hours away. We have a number here, of course, in Las Cruces and Anthony and Sunland Park
Hmm.
and so forth. But then we were all the way out to Lordsburg. We
Wow.
were just a few minutes really from the Arizona line. And then we have contracts up the I-25 corridor. We have contracts in Tier C. We have contracts in Socorro. We have a contract in Albuquerque with the Department of Game and Fish. And so, really, you could draw a line across New Mexico from Albuquerque. We are doing contracts really from the Texas line to the Arizona line all the way south. We probably our farthest are Hobbs, and then we're in Camado, which is what, an hour and a half or so west of Socorro.
Oh,
So,
wow. Yeah.
and it's a very small town in the mountains. We have a small contract there with the Department of Public Safety at the state police office, the regional little offices they have in Camado, and so um, we're in some I would say some remote places. And again, the the happiness of that is, yeah, we're providing good service to the state of New Mexico, and it's very nice to get these services, but it also gives an opportunity to people in those communities, especially individuals with disabilities who may have trouble finding work now as a
Hmm.
job opportunity in what I'm going to say are more remote locations. It's not Albuquerque, it's not Las Cruces. It is, and New Mexico has a lot of great small towns that sometimes are very rural. And so there's not a lot of job opportunities. In addition to that, there's not a lot of opportunities for people with disabilities. And then we come along and find these contracts and employ people, and they're able to get good jobs. And we typically in those areas grow into more contracts, and people end up, with jobs, with benefits, and retirement, etc. And it's a good thing.
No, absolutely. I mean, and that's exactly where I was going to go with it, the ruralness of New Mexico, because you talk about the cities that we have with Albuquerque, Las Cruces, say Santa Fe, and maybe up north, if you're going a little bit more, there's a couple more in there. But a lot of what we have is rural. So that's what I was going to say, the difficulty of maybe getting some of those contracts in some of those rural, small places that are out there that, you can go ahead and get that done.
Yeah.
So it's the question that I was basically getting to, and you hit it. That the rural areas that are out there can also benefit from a lot of what Tresco does and the opportunities that are there. I would say, what do you think the future looks like for business development and Tresco Works? See, you're a busy guy. I know it.
Yeah. I think it's unlimited. I think New Mexico is growing. I think there are all kinds of opportunities out there. I also think for business development, um, in the lines of work that we are doing right now, I think there's all kinds of growth. We just talked about that. But in addition, I think there's other lines of work that um, that we can continually grow into. And I think case in point, and I think this is reflective in New Mexico and America. You go back 3-4 years ago, who would have dreamed that there would be an entire industry in disinfection services, and that people are hiring companies to come in during this pandemic and do disinfecting in offices, and to disinfect public areas or modes of transportation. That is something that Tresco was able to secure. We are one of a handful of companies that is part of a statewide pricing agreement to provide those services. Those services really weren't even out there 3 or 4 years ago. And I think there are plenty of other opportunities like that Tresco will grow into, not just because of the circumstances of what's happening in New Mexico or the country, but I also think there's just opportunities for us to do new things and to give opportunities to people to be employed in different ways. And so we will continue to